If you're a recent massage therapy graduate and still confused on what jobs to apply and how to navigate to becoming a massage therapist, then this episode is for you. Hi, my name is Stephthemassagetherapist and welcome to another episode of Massage and Whatnot, where we talk about massage therapy from start to finish. And for today's episode, we have a very special guest that would give us some tips and tricks on how you can figure this out. So if you're ready, let's get started. When I became a massage therapist, it was really hard to navigate which jobs I should pick. It's kind of hard when you see multiple of job invitations and you don't know which ones to say no. So that's why I'm very lucky to find an RMT that actually gave me an idea on how to say no. So for today's episode, I would like to welcome my guest for today, Mackenzie. Hi, Mackenzie.
Hi, Steph. How's it going?
Same old, same old. I think I'm always busy, but never too busy to make a podcast. How about you?
Oh, yeah. Always busy.
So can you tell some of my community members here a little bit about you?
Yeah, so I am a massage therapist in Ottawa, Canada, and I've been a massage therapist for almost 6 years now, which is crazy to think about.
6 years, yeah. Actually, when I was on my second year of being an RMT, I already wanted to quit. And I believe when we had our initial phone conversation about it, that's one of your advocacies, right? You want to mentor new RMTs on not quitting.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I think that's something we hear a lot whenever we are getting into the profession is there's a really high burnout rate. A lot of massage therapists only last for about 3 to 5 years in the profession, and then oftentimes they transition into something completely different, like outside of the healthcare field altogether. And that's something that when I first got started in the profession, I am so passionate about massage therapy, and there's so much that we're able to do as massage therapists and so much that we're able to help people with beyond just like I feel like stereotype of massage of it just being like a relaxing kind of treat yourself sort of thing. There's so much that we can do to help people that I'm very passionate about helping massage therapists also be able to stay in this profession.
Yeah, and actually, speaking of that, I think one of the reasons why they quit early on is, again, they don't know how to say no. So for example, I kind of told you in the beginning of this podcast, for the community members that are listening, it's really hard to say no when you see a lot of options. Like for example, when I started, literally after a few hours of getting my registration from the college, I just clicked number of resumes on Indeed and I'm like, yes, I'm gonna go to this interview. And then even if I don't know the terms and conditions of this job, I wasn't even thinking. And then now they keep ramming me up with job opportunities. See this client, do this, work these hours. And I never learned how to say no. So what do you think about that? Like, what insight can you give me? Because until now, I'm still having an issue saying no. Which is...
It's hard.
It is hard. So what are the tips that you can give me about that? Because I think that's a core, not just because you're a new RMT. It's like being an RMT in general. What can we do about this?
Yeah, I think it's really tough because a lot of RMTs, we get into this profession because we are wanting to help people. And a lot of times we are very empathic and we're people pleasers. And those are really great traits in being a really, really great massage therapist. But what comes with that is sometimes it's difficult to set boundaries because you're always wanting to help people and you're always wanting to kind of go above and beyond for your clients. And it's a really hard lesson for anybody, but especially when you're a new grad, to learn it's okay to say no. And oftentimes it's actually in the best interest of your client to say no, because if you're overworking yourself and taking on multiple clients, like outside of your scheduled hours, for example, then the you that your last client of the day is getting is not your best you. So it's a really, really hard lesson to learn, but it's a really important lesson to learn for a lot of massage therapists. And I think just that concept in and of itself, knowing that if you're saying yes to every single person that asks you and you're overworking yourself, you're not doing anyone any favors. In the short term, it seems like you're doing really great things because you're able to help more clients. But if you're not able to kind of show up as your best self as a therapist, then you're not really able to give to those clients. Like, you can't pour from an empty cup, right?
Yeah, that's actually heavy. That's why I was like, I was about to say something, but like, it hits to my heart. That's true. I think that's the most underrated thing that happens to a massage therapist, because again, we care so much. And then wherever we can help, we help. And then suddenly you don't understand, why are you burnt out? Why are you tired? Like, why are you exhausted at the end of the day? We just did our job, right? Like, being a good massage therapist. And then now it turns out it's because we're too nice to say no, right? I actually have a quick story about this, right? Like, I know I said like 2 years ago, that's the reason of why I burnt out. But then I opened a massage therapy clinic, like a business. And then now I have to be a business owner. I have to be a business partner. I also have to be the massage therapist. But outside of that, I'm also a girlfriend, a daughter, and a sister. And it's not just in the workplace, because now, for example, on a holiday, like for example, Easter weekend, sister asks you to go here, mom asks you to go there, boyfriend wants you to go, plus the thing, like, patients are asking, hey, are you working? And then here you are, okay, let me manage my time. Maybe from 9 to 3, I'm going to work a little bit. And then from 3 to 4, I'm going to be with my boyfriend. And then from 4 to 5, I'm going to be with my mom, and then travel, so on and so forth. So now it's not just the job. It's not just the job itself. Like, it's actually the whole lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think about that? So I know that now you kind of taught me how to say no, but with this thing that is so exhausting, how can I ask for help? Because this is too much.
Yeah. Well, especially when you are kind of wearing so many hats like that. And a lot of massage therapists do end up going out on their own, because there's so many different ways that we can run businesses and have our own business. So I think it is very appealing to a lot of therapists to go out on their own and be their own boss, but then it comes with, you're doing so much, and like your job becomes your life almost. Like, it's very hard to have that separation. But another thing that I'm super, super passionate about is mentorship within the massage therapy profession. And it doesn't, like, it's not super common. It doesn't exist that much. But I have found, like, learning to ask for help and kind of connecting with other massage therapists and just even bouncing ideas off each other. Like, if you can get together in person and like do treatment exchanges and ask questions and, like, how would you approach this, or how do you deal with difficult clients like XYZ, and kind of give your own experience with things. That's amazing. But even just like social media is a fantastic tool. I love using Instagram. A good chunk of my following on Instagram are actually other massage therapists. So it's really, really cool, because we're always talking to each other in the DMs and like, oh, I really like what you did here, and like, this is what I'm doing. And so it's cool because you can connect with so many people without them necessarily having to be in your direct like vicinity. So it really opens the door to be able to bounce those ideas off each other and learn from each other. And I think it just makes it more, I don't know if approachable is the word, but I know when I started in massage 6 years ago, everything was kind of shrouded in mystery.
Yes.
And it was like, oh, you do learn so much as you're working, but I just felt like there is such a big chunk missing that like now I feel almost like responsible for, like with clinic that I work for, when we hire new grads, like I'm there with them and kind of like walk them through, okay, this is where everything is in the clinic. This is what like kind of your daily flow is probably going to look like. And like I try to hit all the things that I feel like were unspoken when I started, because there's so many just little day-to-day things even happen with being a massage therapist that you don't think about until it arises. So yeah, I think just being able to feel comfortable, even like reaching out to other therapists who have been working in the field for a long time. And I think anytime you come at it with like being really passionate
Yeah.
about massage, then people are more open to like helping you.
I just want to be straight up here. So for example, I did that when I was a little bit, not a little bit younger in the field, but around 5-6 years, around your time of becoming an RMT. Did you join like Facebook groups? Because there's a lot of Facebook groups.
Yes. Yeah.
But then again, no hate with the Facebook groups.
I know exactly where you're going with this.
I know. I saw the look, but I have to say it. I have to say it. Some things there are very helpful when I ask my question, but then sometimes there's so much negativity.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it's all negativity. Like there are some helpful posts, but there are some that's just gonna be like, oh, but is there another way of explaining things and so on and so forth that's less discouraging? Because, for example, my English is not good, and me making this podcast is a way for me to actually help me communicate, and especially that as a massage therapist, I need to learn how to communicate better. So this is also like a good practice with me. So before, I'm lazy and I'm a texter, so I don't really complete sentences and stuff like that. A person there said, how can you be an RMT, if you can't even properly say sentence correctly? But my thought is good. Like the sentence is fully correct, just so you know. And this is me asking for help on a random day. And then, oh, okay, I'm just asking help what to do with a home business. But then it's, like, well, how would you deal with that kind of situations? Because I don't know if some of the people would experience that. I'm not saying it's that, but what if they get an advice or an unsolicited advice? Like something like that. I was just randomly asking for help.
Yeah.
And then suddenly a person was a grammar Nazi on my end of the story. It doesn't have to be that story. What would you do in that sense?
Well, first of all, I'm sorry you experienced that. I don't know if I've been on the receiving end of that, but I have noticed that as kind of a recurring theme. I think Facebook is not always the best demographic, kind of like form of connecting with people, I guess. Sometimes that demographic isn't always the most supportive, because I find Facebook in general, there tends to be a lot more of the keyboard warriors, and sometimes there's more people who are, maybe they've been in the profession for too long and they're burnt out, or there are a lot of massage therapists who got into the profession and didn't really have a love for it or a passion for it, and they just kind of got stuck. And I find those are the people who tend to spew a lot of negativity when it comes to massage, and they tend to be the ones who are also saying like, oh, you're not going to last, and your body's going to fall apart, and like you're going to burn out. They're the very like negative things that we hear.
Yeah.
So what I found, I don't use Facebook hardly at all. What I've found to be a lot better is like connecting with therapists on Instagram. That seems to be a really good kind of community for me. I mean, I've connected with therapists all over, but I've used Instagram to connect with therapists who are in my area. And then I've been able to like meet up with a few of them and go for coffee and chat, or like do a massage exchange, but have it be very informal. So we're kind of like chatting as we're treating. And I found having a bit more of that one-on-one has gone a longer way versus doing like reaching out for help in a Facebook group.
Yeah. Actually, I just recently like found people on Instagram. You're one of them, right? I don't like a lot, but I check like posts and like not stalk, but I do posts, and I like this vibe. It's so happy. Not like I'm not gonna say it's modern, because again, like what you said, there are some demographics on those Facebook groups that are either they're too hardcore or they're just, I don't want to say it, but the word that I can think of is know-it-all, but I don't want to say it in a bad way. Like, I hope you know that, okay? I'm not judging here, but I gotta say what I have to say. But in on Instagram, it's really a fun thing. Like for example, when you saw my first episode, I'm like, yay! Now I have an RMT Instagram friend here where I can, extend and ask insights from. Because every time that I wanted to share something on those groups, I feel, I don't know, shy.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm not shy. Even the people I know, they would be shocked if I'm shy. Even my producer here, as on our call, you can't see him, but he's laughing. He's probably like, what? Steph being shy? I'm never shy. Like if you put me in a room of 1,000,000 people, I will stand out because I'm that extroverted. But that's the thing, like the negativity makes it hard to ask for help sometimes. That's why I would go in that group and I would be discouraged. Am I really gonna post my new course here, or am I really gonna ask some podcast guests here? Because I want to connect with someone who actually shares the same vibe. And luckily I found you. I'm like, great, someone has someone that has fresh insight with everything. Because I mean it's a really tough crowd. And speaking of that, like, hey, it's not just Facebook that has a community. We also have Instagram, which is, I think, more interactive because you see stories, you see more things than on a Facebook group. And I think that's so nice, right? And speaking of like Instagram, this is a hub of opportunities. Like it's not only for, what do you call this, like posting, it can also be good for a business, right? And I know as massage therapists, our core services are basically the massages. But do you think that there's any other extra income that the new graduates can, research or do in the future? Because like what you said, that was heavy earlier, that some of them are burnt out and they're just doing this because they're stuck.
Yeah.
So how do you not get stuck? Like, is there any other way besides massaging for you to be still become a massage therapist, but you're not burnt out, you're not stuck by just giving massages?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point to touch on, because even if you love being a massage therapist and even if you are working really hard to take care of yourself, at the end of the day, we do generally only make money when we treat clients. And so if you are trying to scale that or grow that or create more financially for yourself, it is really hard to do that without running into okay, now I have to start either increasing my rates, or I have to invest more in myself in further courses so that I can maybe increase what I'm offering. Or I have to take on more clients. So I think learning how to create additional streams of income is super, super important for anybody, but especially if you are working in a profession like massage therapy, where we only get paid if we treat clients. So I know, because burnout was something that was really on my mind when I first graduated and first started working, I remember thinking like, okay, I'll get really good at something and I'll create an online course, and then I'll do a bunch of work up front in creating this course, and then it'll be more like passive income, hopefully. Then I figured that would just be, I'm way too type A and I'm way too much of a perfectionist. So I don't think I could actually, it would take me years probably to put together a course and I still wouldn't be happy with it. So I kind of put that on the back burner. And then I started thinking about similar, but instead of creating a course, make an ebook and then sell the ebook. But at the end of the day, I just realized the time I would be investing in creating those things versus what I would actually make back on them wouldn't really be worth it financially. But those are two options that are widely available to massage therapists.
I actually have some inputs on that, like the ebooks and stuff like that. You're right. I'm almost a decade into this industry. Because I always say a decade because I forgot how many years. After 5 years, I stopped counting because I'm like, not counting anymore. Almost a decade, perfect. It took me this year to launch an ebook, and it's not even paid. It's free because that's me not learning how to say no. I don't know how to, stop helping people. But again, that's still a good way. Like maybe on my end now, because it took me 3 to 4 years to actually figure out how that ebook thing would work. But even now that I launched something, I'm still not earning anything from it. But then again, if it becomes successful, it means that's another stream of income. But one thing that you said that I like is the courses, and we can delve in, because that's what I tell my students at school too. Because for example, I know that you're doing lymphatic drainage, right? But it's probably more the specific ones.
Yes.
Because it's at school, we teach it also. You probably learned it, like the general pump here on the terminus and so on and so forth, or like the basic ones. And my students are always, Steph, like why do we need to take an extra course for this if you're already teaching it at school, so on and so forth, right? And I always tell them it's because your general Swedish massage techniques, your advanced techniques, you're gonna get tired of them, so you kind of want to specialize into something that can actually make you more income, and not just income, but it can also help you do what you love the best. Because I see that you're really passionate with your facial massage, the TMJ. Especially the TMJ is very in demand, right? Like in TMJ treatments.
Yeah. I found when I started focusing a bit more on those treatments, the clients that I was seeing, they were actually saying like, oh my gosh, nobody in the city does this. Like there are so few massage therapists, because when we go to school, we have to learn everything very generally so that we can be considered entry to practice level.
Yes.
Which is huge. Entry to practice does not mean we are experts. It means we're kind of okay at a lot of things.
The bare minimum.
Exactly.
It's the bare minimum.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's so important to take courses after you graduate. I'm a big believer in work a little bit first and practice what you actually learned in school and then start taking courses. But it's so important because then you can start to build skills that we just didn't have time to go over when we were doing the full massage therapy program. And TMJ and lymphatic drainage are two areas that I believe are not focused on a lot in the massage therapy curriculum. And I understand why they aren't, but it's very intimidating for a new massage therapist to have a client book in with them and say, yeah, I heard I could get massage for my jaw pain. I really want you to work inside my mouth. And the new grad is like, oh my gosh, I have no idea how to approach this. Definitely taking courses is super, super beneficial. And it also kind of shows you as the individual taking the course, it gives you an idea of how a course is run, how it's put together, what you liked, what you didn't like, and then you can just kind of bank that for future if it is something that you want to explore as a way to create additional income. And then using something like Instagram is a really great way to advertise that for sure.
I actually like that, the fact that you said that there's not a lot of TMJ massage therapists. And I believe that because a person came to me and he couldn't open his mouth. I'm like, what? Open your mouth. He's like, I can't. But I'm like, okay, so why are you here? And then he's like, I want you to fix this jaw. I couldn't even understand what he's saying because he's mumbling. And I'm like, unfortunately, it's not me. I'm not the best person for this. So I have to ask the community around where to refer you. But then that opened my mind in looking for courses. And going back to the point that you said earlier, there are some courses that are not really that good, and there are courses that are legit. But then I know we made that point, but the price.
Oh yeah.
The price of it is way too much, and then when you go there, it's not well put together. And sometimes that's discouraging. That's why I noticed most of the new RMTs now, to just find extra source of income, they just go with something generic. Can I give you an example? I have a student who right after graduated massage therapy didn't even take the exam yet, took aesthetic diploma or osteopathic diploma. Yeah, acupuncture, not even practicing yet. I'm like, why don't you take the exam, work a little bit, earn money, and then start going for courses rather than bombard your brain with another program and then you're coming back, oh, I need to pass my OSCEs. I need to pass my exam because I never had time for it. And when I ask them, why did you choose to take a program and you haven't even finished this one? Oh, I graduated. But I said, no. You graduated, but you still need to pass the registration exams. You didn't pass it. You just opened another can of worms to make your life busier. And then I always respond saying, it's because I need another stream of income. Because I think massage is so hard and I don't know if I'm gonna pass. So I need another stream of income. So what can you say about that? Because we're in the topic, right? I mean, I know that you're a firm believer of like do some work first, then find a course. And this is the total opposite. How can we help these people to like help them change their mindset that it may not be the best idea they have?
Yeah. Well, I think with that mindset, they're already going into the profession thinking, I'm not going to last very long. And so I need to have a backup plan, almost, is like what I hear when they say that. When you're in school and you're learning about all these different things, it's really easy for everything to sound like a shiny object and kind of get distracted by them. But you don't really know until you start working. Like, perfect example, before I started massage school, I did an undergrad degree in kinesiology. And as I was nearing the end of that, I had pretty much decided that I was going to pursue massage therapy after I graduated. And I was going through an internship where I was working with population like with different neurological disorders. So a lot of like post-stroke, Parkinson's disease, MS, all like neurological related. And I thought for sure that was the population that I wanted to work with. And when I started my internship, I realized I loved learning about those different disorders in theory. But when it came to working with that population, I found it very, very challenging because I took on too much. Like, I wasn't able to kind of compartmentalize and separate how I was feeling and how they were doing. And like, I just made it all too personal and kind of like took on all of their stuff. And so that's a perfect example of, if I hadn't had that experience of actually working with that population, then I would have graduated, taken courses, spent time and money to learn more about working with that population. And then when it actually came time to work with them, realized, oh, this isn't for me. And then I've just wasted my time and my money, and I'm kind of starting over to be like, okay, now what? And to your point of talking about doing that before you've even written your exam, then you have all of this other information in your brain that's kind of competing with stuff that you learned in massage school that you still need to remember and recall for the OSCEs.
I think that's a good, like, actually the best point you have pointed out, and I hope you're listening to this if you do watch it, is that instead of you earning more, you're losing more money, right? Because you're chewing so much you can't even swallow it or bite it anymore, and then now, but they're gonna be like, oh, OSAP, like the student grants, but you have to pay that back. Like, I know that some of the payments, you don't have, but it's still money that you have to loan for. How about the time that you lost, the effort that you lost, the time of studying that you lost? I think that's not gonna be another stream of income, but that's like an expense. You didn't even earn yet, and you're already you already have a lot of expenses.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really help you out. Well, that's a good insight to see. Well, to summarize this, what I got from our conversation, which is very helpful, not only hopefully not only for me but for the community members here at Massage and Whatnot, is that saying no is not the end, end of your life. It's not gonna be the end of the day. It's not gonna be something that should be tabooed on. You really need to set boundaries, because again, it's beyond saying no, right? And then don't be shy on asking help, but find the right source or community to ask for help. If you feel good on Facebook, great. If you feel on one-on-one, great. If you want Instagram, then great. As long as you find a good way of a positive, truthful feedback, why not? And again, creating more streams of income, of thinking long-term, and actually investing on the right things. So that's what I've got so far. What do you have as a summarization of today's podcast, or your final message to our community members here?
Yeah, I think that was a really great way to summarize everything that we touched on. I think just really having the perspective of, yes, we want to keep everything very client-centered care, but if we're not taking care of ourselves, if we're not taking care of the therapist, then there isn't going to be any care for the clients to receive. So as much as we want to make all of our decisions in our treatments and our treatment planning all around client-centered care, we do also have to take care of ourselves as well, because we're a huge part of that care that's being provided. And if we aren't able to show up as our best selves, then it is going to be reflected. And I think that's where, when you hear from clients that they've had a negative experience with another massage therapist, I think it's not necessarily that the massage therapist was so terrible, but I think they just stopped prioritizing and looking after themselves, and that led them to be burnt out, not be able to show up the same or show up as their best selves for their client. Clients really do perceive that.
That's a great insight. So again, if you feel burnt out, it's probably not that. You just need to spread your wings, look for more things to learn, because I think being a massage therapist doesn't end there, right? There is more into it. You can upgrade to another type of healthcare profession, or maybe just upgrade your skills like what Mackenzie did. Remember, she wanted to start working with neurological conditions like Parkinson's, but then she figured out it's too much for her, and then eventually she found her calling. Oh my God, that was nice. It was a very positive output of how to ask for help. I think that's the biggest core that we have for today. So before we end the episode, do you want them to invite to your Instagram page? So just in case they need help, they don't need to find you on Facebook. They would find you where?
Yes, absolutely. Definitely. Best place to reach me is on Instagram. So I am rmt.mackenzie, Mackenzie, on Instagram. And my DMs are always open. Sometimes I do get more DMs depending on like what I've been posting and whatnot. So sometimes it can take me a couple of days to get back to people, but I try to get back to everybody. And I really do love connecting with other either student therapists or massage therapists who are fully registered. I love connecting with them on Instagram and being able to help any way that I can.
See, again, her DMs are open, but she will respond 3 to 5 business days.
Because I have boundaries.
I mean, again, she has to keep the boundary, right? That's what we learned today. Learn to say no. Thank you very much, Mackenzie. And for those community members, again, my name is Steph, the massage therapist, and our guest for today is Mackenzie. You can find my Instagram links down in the description box below. And again, you can also get my free ebook also on the description below, because that's my way of helping. And again, like Mackenzie, you would also reach me 3 to 5 business days, but rest assured, we will respond. Again, my name is Steph, the massage therapist, and
Mackenzie.
See you for the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for having me.